I just wanted to point something out. The Houston Rockets lost the other night, Game 5. There was 4 times where the open layup was once again passed up. I'm open at the three-point line, and they got 2 guys on Eric Gordon. Harden's open for the layup, but instead, the coach, all the coaches in the NBA say, "Oh, don't take the wide open 2. That doesn't exist anymore. You got to dish it out because we want the 3." And what happened? We lost by 6 points when we could have won the game by 2.
Yeah, well, mathematics be damned. The fact of the matter is that Steph Curry made his name by shooting the ball as fast as he could from 34 feet away from the basket. And people go, "Oh, God, it went in." But, you know, I've seen him chuck up such bad shots. I watched him lose the championship to the Cavaliers in 2016 because he kept chucking up these horrible shots, doing goofy things like, "I'm going to throw the ball behind my back out of bounds now in an important possession with 2 minutes left of the game." I mean, it's like, thank you. You know?
Why don't they just get rid of the 2-point shot? Because obviously these players don't give a shit about it. I mean, if you're blowing a wide open layup because you're that greedy for the extra 1 point, you'd rather have a guy from the corner of the 3 shoot it with 2 guys on him. I mean, what's even the point of having the 2-point shot anymore? Well, just get rid of it.
I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is the rules have been adjusted in such a way that defensively you can't lay hands on players. Players flop, and they didn't stop that from happening. They kick their legs out on jump shots, and they draw all kinds of foul calls on the defense. The defense can't do shit. They're not allowed to because they want 140-point games. And yes, Stephen.
Oh, I wanted to also point, they said this season alone, they tracked it 427 times an open 2-pointer was passed up for a 3-point shot.
Yeah, but the way the game's being played right now is the rules favor the offensive players who are allowed to travel with the basketball, and it's gone way beyond the Euro step. My goodness, it's like, I swear to God, it's like watching disco line dancing right now. I mean, I'm seeing guys moving both their feet. They don't have a pivot foot, hopping up and down. I mean, unbelievable. The offense is getting every conceivable advantage in the game. So what happens is the defensive specialist is never called upon. The guys who are like the Bruce Bowen guys in the old days with San Antonio Spurs, they don't exist anymore.
Or Dennis Robbins, they're literally getting rid of the center position because they're just dragging him out to the 3-point line and saying, "Oh, you're one of us now. Just wait at the 3-point line so we toss you the ball." It's like, okay, but then who guards the inside of the paint? Oh yeah, I forgot. There's nobody there. So literally a point guard like James Harden or somebody just literally blows right past him, instant layup.
You know, I watch NBA games like I watch the movie The Deer Hunter. You know, it's like the 3-point shot is like mow, click. Now, I mean, but eventually one will go in. You know, that's kind of the way it looks. It's like the percentages are horrible. You know, wow, they're doing a great job. They're 7 of 18 from the 3-point line. It's like, you know, that's not great. That's 38%.
2-point shots were passed up too when you had wide open layup, like 10 of them.
I remember when they said, you know, LeBron is never going to be a 50% shooter. Nobody even uses that statistic anymore. Nobody's a fucking 50% shooter from the floor except for LeBron James. Nobody's a 50% shooter overall. Nobody.
You know what they call it now? 25% is the new 50% because they're just chunking up threes all day.
Yeah, you get more for the ones that go in, even when you ignore the ones that don't. But
Mr. Muhead, also another statistic. Did you know that the average play now is 7 seconds? The average offensive play in basketball is 7 seconds. Meaning,
what shot clock?
That court, they chunk it up.
Yeah. And when they're up by 23 points, they're still doing it. I mean, It's like, it has become Rucker Park comes to life.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder they don't have guys like fossils like Hubie Brown doing much announcing anymore. Hubie would be like, "I don't recognize this game. What do you call it?" "Oh, I thought it was lawn bowling." I mean, what can you say about the NBA now, except that it is a bunch of ball hogs? And, you know, they buy into this whole thing because a guy like Kyrie Irving can shoot threes. You see, he can penetrate and score creatively on the drive, and he shoots threes. So this is the criteria. The criteria now is Tony is fapping with his cellophane after he's eaten his, chocolate truffle.
So I'm trying to get my way into the conversation here. If I can.
Okay, sorry.
Go. Feel free.
I've been on here for 5 minutes, and you haven't even
sorry,
recognized my
Cat.
existence.
Jump in. I would never ignore you.
You want to know the big thing about the NBA? It's completely fucking unwatchable. I couldn't give two fucks about the NBA right now. Like, who gives a fuck? The Warriors are going to win again. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Can anybody hear him?
Yeah.
I can't. Fuck you.
Okay.
Hey, Tony, who? Can I give you an example, Tony? He's a Minnesota fan, right? The Timberwolves.
Yep.
Okay, so for example, you got Karl Anthony Towns, who's not a good 3-point shooter, but I've heard his coach tell him, well, you just need to take more threes. I'm like, dude, he should be in the paint trying to get baskets like Shaq. He's too big to be outside on the 3-point lane. And you're telling this guy who's like 20% from 3-point shoot to take more shots. That makes no sense.
Don't worry, they're going to make Giannis. They're going to ruin Giannis by fucking making him shoot threes. And, the game's just going to become unwatchable as more as it already is. And you guys can have that shit.
It's a 3-point contest. That's all it is. It's a 3-point contest of first 150 wins.
Well, you're talking about Karl Anthony Towns, who is the best Timberwolves player. And
right now,
they ask about why does Karl Anthony Towns sometimes appear lazy in games? It's probably because Andrew Wiggins keeps shooting the fucking ball. It's probably because he keeps fighting his way to a spot to get the ball, doesn't get it, and he says, fuck it. Because he doesn't. If you look at the statistics, he don't show up in the ball hogs list. It's Andrew fucking Wiggins, who plays no defense and shoots a low percentage.
And the new league initiative is to be like the Rockets, to be like the Warriors. So who do the Timberwolves hire as a president of basketball operations? The VP from the Rockets. And now they're going to turn us into a 3-point shooting team with guys who fucking can't shoot.
But you know something?
Hooray.
What's interesting is the whole idea behind LeBron James and the drive and kick is that LeBron would finish because he was strong, tall, could jump, could hang in the air, could slam the ball through. All right. And he could power and ones. And a lot of his threes came the old fashioned way because he didn't really start even working on his 3-point shot very much until the last several years. But the whole idea was you could have catch and shoot guys on your team with LeBron because they had to, he would penetrate, they'd have to collapse, and he would find the open man. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with sharing the basketball. One of the most beautiful things that you'll ever see is the guy driving, kicking it out to a guy for the three, who then throws the hockey pass over to another guy so that he gets a cleaner look than the guy in the corner did. The whole thing about the NBA should be not about just 3-point shots, but getting unguarded or unpressured 3-point shots. Yeah,
they've done that. I've seen them pass the ball all the way around. Guy cuts in the center, passes to him, then he's wide open, dishes it right back out to take a contested 3-point shot. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, another thing that's really interesting is just like we talk about the air raid offense in the NFL and the notion that you're sending all of your receivers down the field. But, I mean, what that does is it opens up the middle of the field, which Baker Mayfield loves to throw the ball to, right? But you would think that with the floor spread out and people closing like motherfuckers out on the 3-point line, that there'd be more backdoor action in the NBA than there is in San Francisco on a typical disco night. You understand what I'm saying?
The NBA has taken its lead from Major League Baseball. Chicks dig the long ball.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, you would think, what's the point of opening the whole floor up? Well, you would think that the middle would be wide open. They can't afford to play, the chief from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest to stand up there and block every shot because most of the centers like Aaron Baines, who didn't get much playing time, for the Celtics, it's because he couldn't cover the 3-point line. I mean, the whole point is, if you have 5 men on the court who are covering the 3-point line, who's guarding the basket? And if you have guys like Siakam's long-armed. He can get a little hook in the lane up, and he's a better offensive player than a guy like Capella, who doesn't really have a shot at all, but has great defensive skill to block shots. Siakam, man, down low, there's nobody who can match up with that guy. He's tremendous as far as his arm length is concerned, and he can shoot the corner 3. But they never go down low to anybody. It just gets whipped around and how many times have you seen the shot clock either run out or a guy forced to take a hook shot from 42 feet away because the shot clock's expiring? Because they're just playing catch on the perimeter. It's stupid. The whole idea of a good football scheme is if I send my receivers down the field and they're fast and they're elusive, I can sneak my running back out of the backfield and isolate him with the linebacker in the middle of the field, wide open. Can you imagine if all the NFL did was send the receivers vertically down the field and never use the middle of the field?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what we're looking at. I mean, it's no
the
wonder that
Oakland
nobody
Raiders offense from the 1970s.
Yeah, nobody shoots 50% because nobody's shooting the ball close to the basket.
Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah. Run with Bo Jackson. Run.
Like back in the day, Mr. Moo had players, cared more about their shooting percentage. Nowadays, they're like, oh, I shot 15%, but I made 10 threes, so that's all I care,
Yeah, it's, which brings up this article from Cleveland.com.
Oh, boy.
The Kyrie Irving and LeBron James breakup and a trade that's no longer as lopsided as it once looked. Look, nobody wins. In a situation,
stop talking about that fucking shit. It was 3.5 fucking years ago.
Yeah. But here's the deal. If you're looking to analyze trades used to be initiated by teams. Now they're initiated by players. And basically they say, I'm going on strike. I just, I'll get knee surgery. See, the second Kyrie Irving did that, team cancer. Nobody cares about Kyrie Irving in Cleveland. Nobody cares about him anymore. He's not a villain. He's just forgotten.
I see him more as Uncle Drew than I do as Kyrie Irving.
Well, what I see him is the guy who fucked his teammates over in the playoffs by not being communicative and just by being a dick, and a guy who then proceeded in the offseason to say, if you don't trade me, I'm just going to have knee surgery and miss the season anyway. And, him and his asshole father, it's like I said on Twitter, the earth isn't flat, Kyrie's jumper is. Fuck him.
He might be Uncle Drew, but he was shooting like Medea.
So, and this is what you have. But what did the Cavaliers get out of this? Colin Ball Hog Sexton. It doesn't matter. Nobody won the trade. LeBron didn't win going to Los Angeles, at least not in the basketball sense. Kyrie didn't win. The Celtics didn't win. The Cavaliers didn't win. Dan Gilbert is stuck sending his son out to the draft again, hoping.
My God, can we stop that charade?
Look, what other thing works for him?
It's been 9 fucking years of the Nick Gilbert experience, and it worked twice.
I want to see him with a bow tie on his dick this time.
I want to see him with a bottle of Jack Daniels' hand, like father, like son.
Oh, now that's not nice at all. Funny, but not nice.
Captain Morgan?
Captain.
Well, doesn't he have cancer? Can't they walk him out with his radiation tubes or something like that?
Oh, come on. No. We're not making jokes at the expense of the young man. The fact of the matter is he was a winner twice, but the last time they dragged him out, he didn't win. And the Cavaliers, even if they got Zion, what would it matter? I mean, as long as Jordan Clarkson's on the floor, no one's going to shoot the ball. Okay? When was the last time he passed up a shot to pass the basketball? They suck.
Toronto can't be Russell. At least fucking create some entertainment.
The league has taken a real step back, and it's more important to these players to have their swag than it is for posterity to help win championships, win games by being selfless. It's all about photo ops, wearing outrageous clothing, or, and I can say the same thing about OBJ. Before he even plays a game as a Cleveland Brown, I'm sick of him already.
It's basically the Instagram of NBA. There's no I in team. Well, it definitely ain't we.
Well,
the word "me" does appear in team, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Look, OBJ is a fabulously talented receiver, but the second he opens his mouth, he just loses me. And it's like, shut up and win some games before you start talking about the Browns and the Patriots in the same breath. Are you fucking nuts? I mean, it's like they all might as well be Kardashian bitches. That's what they all should be. Because they're just fucking attention whores. They'll do anything to get attention. And you'll say anything to get your name in print. It's stupid. And the players brand themselves and they become the de facto stars of the game. But how does James Harden become a star of the game when he hasn't done dick? When he chokes in every playoff he ever plays in? When he couldn't get the job done when he had two legitimately fine teammates in Oklahoma City? Same thing with Russell Westbrook. Of course he and KD had a problem because Westbrook didn't want to turn the ball loose. That's what it is. And that's why they lost every year. So it can't be Russell Westbrook either, who gets all the attention as being a great star. It can't be Kyrie Irving. If you want to be in the pantheon, you've got to do something for somebody besides yourself. I mean, and granted, Gordon Hayward was not the Gordon Hayward of the past, but what's he going to do with Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and and Kyrie, and then Morris getting the rest of the shots up? There is no. How does he fit into that offense?
So, do you see Kyrie staying in Boston, or you think he's going to New York?
No, he's gone. He's gone. And you know something? If they can trade him, they will. And I know he's a free agent. Boston has to trade him. The only way they're going to get anything for him is if they trade him, because he'll leave.
Yeah, he's going
to bolt. And the reason he's going to bolt is I told everybody this before it all began. He was saying all these great things about the city of Boston, and I said, son, you got no idea what you're headed for because, and we'll have the game show. Somebody give me game show music. Roxanne, give me game show music.
Like Jeopardy.
And now it's time for another edition of Blame the Negro. Come on down, Kyrie. You're the next contestant on Blame the Negro. It's a national pastime in Boston. I told everybody that. This thing couldn't have ended up good. It couldn't. He said, oh, I'm finally in a real city. Yeah! You know what they do in the real city? You never saw the sheets over their head because they were out getting pressed at the laundry. But they're there, believe me. I'm wearing them out in public like they do down in the South. But they're in Boston, all right. And they're just waiting. And the guy they're going to blame is going to be blackety black.
Well, guess what happens when he goes to New York to the Big Apple?
Ooh, well, look, the difference between New York and Boston is Boston thinks they're the center of the universe, okay? That's why they have an inferiority complex. That's why Boston and New York have such problems.
And that's why the fans are like that, too.
The cities are close enough to one another that there are some comparisons to be drawn because geographically, but there is no comparison between the cities because the culture that's in New York is not in Boston.
What's New York like then? What makes New York separate from Bostonians?
New Yorkers actually have a reason to believe they're in the center of the universe because, my goodness, all of the museums and Broadway and all of the historic significant buildings and architecture in New York City and all of the concerts and all of the arts and the fine arts that are there and the galleries in Soho, all of the things. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Manhattan. I wouldn't want to live there, but it's sure an exciting place to visit for 3 or 4 days. But Boston, you go to Boston, you know what you see?
What?
You see priests butt fucking altar boys. What do you see? Let's go to Beacon Hill and watch people who talk like this and say hi. Oh, by the way. Okay, I just wanted to do it. I wanted to do it, and I've given him a name too. His name is Mr. Jaws. I have no idea what the point of it is, but that's his name, and you're going to have to put up with him. It's either that or Timmy Bartholomew, and I think you'd all agree that Mr. Jaws is less irritating than Timmy Bartholomew.
That is true.
No, Boston, Boston is, what is Boston famous for? Cape Cod, right?
Yeah.
Baked beans.
Baked beans, yeah.
Maybe it makes all sense for Kyrie to go to New York if he can convince KD to go there.
It does. All that matters is whatever's going to further Kyrie. And if that means going to New York, that's where he and old Drederick are going. The two of them are peas in a pod. Just like peas and carrots.
Speaking of KD, got his that sprain on his right calf. I'm wondering, or strain, I think. Do you think the Rockets win tonight, or do you think Golden State finishes them off in 6?
I think that somehow the Rockets are going to find a way to lose this series anyway, because they always do it. Again, the de facto things that we say, the stars of the game, the best point guard is Chris Paul. Chris Paul, where has he been? Hello? Where is he?
He's been on a decline, I'll admit.
Yeah. I mean, he's not the best point guard in the game.
Just for the record, I disagreed with his 4-year extension, but the problem is he's the leader of the players' union, and he knows all the numbers and everything. But he wasn't going to take anything less than a max deal.
Yeah, but you see, in the end, I guess I didn't make this point, and I should make the point. Guys like Kyrie will always find their way onto a loaded team because the way that the executives and the teams view the game is you got to have guys who can handle the ball, who can change direction, who get separation, and can shoot 3-point shots. All right. Nowhere in the equation does it say play defense or share the basketball or be exquisite assist men or any of those things. They just say you got to be quick, you got to be able to separate, and you got to have range. There'll always be room for guys like that, and they will always dictate where they play. And teams will pay them an astronomical amount of money. And if you don't believe me, how many people out there in Lakerland really love Lonzo Ball? Raise your hand. It's like you don't, because you can't hit the broadside of a barn.
And he's going through a divorce.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, she wants him on child support. Ooh, like Blake Griffin. Ooh.
I don't know. Lonzo Ball had a kid.
Yep, and he's getting a divorce.
I'm surprised he could manage to get it in the hole. Yeah, I'm killing myself. I'm sorry. So, at any rate, enough of this subject, but I think you get my drift thing. And just go to G League games because I can get the same acoustics. It was a long way to go for a punchline, folks, I know. But can you imagine? This is all you hear at the G League games. A ball pounding on the floor and a guy going, peanuts, 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 peanuts. Popcorn, 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 popcorn. It's like there's nothing to eat up the sound. Who watches these games? You know what I think they should do? I think what they used to do in the old days with the movies in the 1930s and 40s, you go to the movies, they give you a little short at the beginning. You had like the Little Rascals, a little short, or Three Stooges, and you'd have the world headline news, and then you'd have the main feature. I think the G League and the WNBA should be like bookends. They should play them both, so you get a doubleheader. One price gets you to see two kind of basketball games.
Might work.
I'm going to make so many friends in the feminist community. But, you know, the bottom line is, it's like, who goes to, it's like, honey, I'm taking you to a G League game tonight. I want a divorce. You know? What the hell does that? Yeah, we're going to have a special hot dog dinner, and we're going to watch, and we're going to have the whole road to ourselves.
Well, there's people out there excited about the XFL, so who knows?
Hey, Tony, do you think the XFL is going to work, Tony?
No.
Okay. Hey, go ahead. Now you can say anything about it.
If the AAF wasn't going to work, what makes them think that just because it's on Fox and ABC and ESPN, that people are going to watch fucking guys who can't make practice squads?
And not only that, but you only got 8 teams. So, like, you're like literally like, what is it, like 45 major cities, but only like 8 of them have a team.
Well, I don't think the number of teams, it's the number of talent. Who in the, fucking Joe Shit the Ragman and fucking fucking at quarterback throwing the ball to Haywood Jablomi. Like, what the fuck? Who the fuck?
I used to have a rookie card of Haywood Jablomi. That thing was worth some money back then.
But hey, Vince McMahon, fucking, he's got the financial backing for it.
We could see some washed up guys like Cordell Stewart or somebody come out there and take some
fucking
reps.
Cordell. Fucking peg leg Pete.
Bring out Steve Austin out there. I'll drive somebody.
You know what?
Fuck, the talent pool is so bad, Moohead's going to be playing quarterback by week 3.
There is one thing I cannot understand, though, so help me God. If you went to the open marketplace and you said, I want to create a soft drink, but nobody really knows what it tastes like, but I got to come up with an exciting name. I'm going to call it New Coke. It's like, why would you rename something that already failed? Why would Vince McMahon call it the XFL again?
Yeah.
I mean, that is just like the dumbest. Now, that's
We're
not as
different.
bad as AAF. What the fuck is AAF?
Sound like some wrestling promotion.
Black.
Exactly.
Like a wrestling promotion.
I mean, what kind of a name for a league? But XFL. You know what X connotates? Either pornography or rebellion. It does. It would be cool to see the XFL take off, but it's just after the AFF or AAFL. I don't have any confidence that this is going to work. There is only one thing that people can say about the XFL. That's he hate me. Nobody remembers anything else, but he hate me.
Touchdown Tommy Maddox, motherfucker. Who are you talking about?
Yeah, the XFL, really rebellious. You know what we're going to do? We're going to create man-made phalluses and have the cheerleaders taking up their butts at halftime. Boy, we're the rebellious league, aren't we? Try something different, XFL. It's not going to work.
So, Mr. Moohead, what would you suggest him to do? A name change? Add more teams? I mean, they're trying to do something, right?
Well, I definitely would rebrand it because, stop and think of all the unsuccessful things that you've seen marketed in your life, products that failed. And I'm trying to think of some of the greatest examples of failed products.
Crystal Pepsi.
Now, you know what it would be like? It would be like if somebody wanted to come out with a video game system and called it ColecoVision. It'd be like,
huh?
Why in the world would you name something that failed 35 years ago? And it's like, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. It's stupid. It's stupid. XFL.
We're bringing back Radio Shack. You mean all those expensive ass shit I can get for Walmart for a third of the price?
And the dumb ideas just keep on going. It's like, what I want to see? I want to see the BIG3 basketball. I want to see 3-on-3 with old men.
Greg Oden was like the number 1 pick in that league this year. I thought I saw somewhere. It's like
it's a wheelchair league now.
They just take the ball back and then they go like, oh, you got to go back to the 3-point line. But as soon as
make
they
it take it
out of the basket, they pass to him. He just shoots it. And that's what they do.
It's make it take it. It's what we played when we were kids. It's one step away from playing horse. It's pathetic. And it's like
they still sell out arenas though. It's really weird. Like you watch it on fucking Fox 1 or whatever, and there's fucking sold out arenas. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
it's the Geico commercial with the barbershop quartet out there playing.
Pass the rock. Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Moonhead, I know you're about to kick us off the show, but before you go, we won't be back till Monday. So I'm just wondering who you got out of that Portland-Denver Game 7 for tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and
good series.
It's been. I really still think that the Blazers are the better team. And it is what a blow it would be to the city of Denver. But, I am picking the Blazers to win that. Okay. And I think that there is more, oddly enough, pressure on Denver because as a franchise, it's been difficult for the Nuggets. And they have a lot of guys. And if anybody is sold out to the mantra of, the long ball, that's them. And, it could be one of these games where, everything drops like rain for them, or it could be one of those games where it's Brick City.
It's been an exciting series. But who do you got out of the Sixers-Toronto Game 7? That's going to be another interesting one in Toronto.
Well, my feeling is Toronto will win. And the reason I believe that is that what's bothering me is seeing Simmons and Embiid fired up every other game. And I can't for the life of me figure out why the process has led us here. The whole thing doesn't make sense. To me, Kawhi is a complete ball player. I'm nervous about Lowry because he's notoriously not so good in the clutch. But at the same time, how can you cheer for a guy like Simmons who shoots like a girl? He does not have a jump shot in the NBA.
He doesn't.
And you defend him in such a way that the only thing he's going to get is because of his 6'10" length. He can get into the lane and tip a ball in. But, God, when he's flying up the court, he has no touch on his finishes at the rim. He's awful, and he's a horrible free throw shooter. If you want to take them out of a running transition game, which is imperative, if you're Toronto, the first thing you want to do is force them to play in the half court.
What about Joel Embiid? Do you like Joel Embiid? What about Joel Embiid? He's been receiving a lot of criticism.
Well, I don't feel that he, you can't keep saying he's injured, he's sick, he's injured, he's sick every other game. Then he plays a good one. Then he has to me, if he gets off to a bad start, he's going to become glum like Kyrie, and he's going to want his little pacifier, and he's,
So I know you got Warriors winning this series. Do you got them closing out the Rockets tonight, or do you think Rockets force a Game 7 on Sunday?
I think for the league, it would be more interesting to force a Game 7. So let's give them that much. Let's give them that much. And, let's be honest about it. Cleveland was not given a chance 3-1 down. And honestly, Cleveland wasn't given a chance in Game 7 either. Nope. The bottom line is you get to Game 7, anything can happen. That's why these things are hard to predict, even more so now, because if a team has one of those shooting 45% from three, the game's over, But likewise, if they have the 14% three, like Boston did in their last two games, it's over. So there's a wide swing of what can happen here. But I think the Blazers win, and I think the Bucks win.
Toronto wins.
I'm sorry, Toronto. Yeah, the Raptors are going to win.
And the Warriors are winning. You got the Warriors winning regardless.
Yeah. I just don't believe that Houston can close them out. I just don't believe it can happen. And I believe, and it's going to happen in the way that's going to be the most irritating of all. Like Draymond Green will get hot from 3 or something stupid, and then they'll say, "You see all the depth they have there in the Warriors." And blah, blah, blah.
I got to give Draymond his props. He was hitting his threes in Game 5, like in crucial moments. He hit like 3 of them.
I know.
In crucial moments of that Game 5 when they were only up 1, and he hit 2 3-pointers to put them back up to 4. And I said, "Wow, okay, this guy can hit it."
Well, occasionally. I mean, to me, it's nice that these are going into Game 7s, and I think it's indicative of the fact that a lot of these teams can't put 2 really great performances back to back. That's been the case with the 76ers. We just haven't seen back-to-back quality games played by them. And if you can hold them into the half court, what you do is you take the transition game away from Simmons and the pass outs to J.J. Redick. If you can get them in the half court, J.J. Redick needs screens. You're going to force them into the half court. Embiid will not be as much of a factor because he obviously is not feeling great. He's going to get beaten up in the paint. He seems to want to camp out behind the 3-point line and chuck up 3-point shots. It really, if Toronto is smart and if Judge is a decent coach, he's going to force that game into the half court.
Yeah, I pretty much agree.
You're race to see what gets to 100 first, the Sixers or Joel Embiid's temperature. 100 wins.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
He could have gone IQ.
I hit my
too.
quota for the month. I'm done now.
All right, that's it, everybody. It's 4 minutes past 7. I got to get the hell out of here.